It's always a good day when Mugen uploads. My God, boys, we are gathered here today because he made a video on the greatest goddamn gacha that has ever come out in the history of non-Hoyo gachas. Brother made a Uma Musume lore video, and we're going to sit here and react to the whole thing as a 31-year-old man because I love this fucking game, and that's the truth. And before you ask me, who's my favorite Uma? Who the fuck you think? El Condor Pasa! She's so dope. Anyways, let's get it. Basado!
Jiankui He, a Chinese scientist who had created a genetically modified baby, breaking every ethical law regarding genetic research and being sentenced to jail for 3 years back in 2019. After being released, he would somewhat disappear for a while until he got access to social media, most namely Twitter. And in classic supervillain fashion, he would tweet out, "Every pioneer or prophet must suffer," while staring intently.
I had to check the title of this video to make sure I was watching the right thing. What the fuck is happening?
At the camera, all while continuing his genetic research like nothing had happened. This would of course make him go viral, but what were people's reactions here? Were they shocked? Were they outraged? Were they scared? No, they kept spamming him, pestering him even, with one request. Eventually, there will be so many people requesting the same thing that he had to make an entire post responding to it, saying, "Stop asking for cat girls, I'm trying to cure disease." This dude was sentenced to jail for creating genetically modified babies and forging the ethical paperwork. But the only thing people were concerned with was cat girls. Yeah, I mean, it comes as no—
Hey, guys, admit that your girlfriend's role in your life would be in danger if cat girls started to exist. You can lie if you want. But you know it's the truth.
surprise, guys. Anime girls have taken over the world. But look, if the movie Ratatouille has taught me anything in life, it's that things are better when combined together. And so some of the most intelligent people on planet Earth saw cats and thought, wow, this is really cute and adorable, like anime girls. Why don't we combine them and create cat girls? The result? A massive success. This, of course, made even more people think, until a particular group of people came up with a very interesting idea. They thought, well, look, humans love cats, right? I'm sure they love dogs too.
Hot take, dogs are better. Golden Retriever girlfriend always beats scared cat girlfriend. Yep, and I will die on that hill, brother. I will die on that hill. Imagine the moment that you get home, your Golden Retriever girlfriend pounces on you and licks your face and other things the moment you get home. And they're just happy to see you every day. They're happy to see you every day, man. It would be the best.
But what's one animal that's been with us since the beginning? An animal humans share a very important bond with. Horses. So listen to this genius idea, right? What if we took anime girls and gave them horse ears and horse tails? Then we would put all these cute anime horse girls together on a track and have them race just like horses do during horse races.
That would be epic.
But get this, okay? Things don't end here because these horse girls are living a double life. When they're not racing on the horse track, they're idols, dancing and singing in top-tier performances.
And the worst thing is, it's actually so good. I was sitting here, once again, want to remind you, 31-year-old man being like, oh, this is going to be gay as fuck. And then I'm like, yeah, we won the Una final. Yeah, baby, let's get it. Shuck and jive, baby, goddamn.
A massive audience. Sounds absolutely insane, right?
Yes, it
I mean,
does.
seriously, horse girls, anime horse girls racing on a track. You've got to be shitting me, man. The concept
Guys,
of gacha
don't
games
knock
is
it till
already
you try it,
niche.
absolutely.
And horse girls in a gacha game, you won't find anyone to play this. Nope, I was severely wrong. Look at this chart just on Steam.
It's that
with
good.
a peak of 87,000 people playing at the same time. That's not all, though. The game hasn't even been out for 1 month globally and has already reached over 1 million downloads on the Google Play Store.
Hey, all the people who ranked this low are the ones who lost their polls on Kita-san Black. And we know that's the truth.
Still not surprised? The game has gotten so popular on Steam that it has beaten every single game on the platform to claim the #1 spot for most downloaded games in this current period. Now you might be thinking, okay, fine, maybe it's like this mass hysteria going on. Maybe this concept is so ridiculous people downloaded it, but then realized, it's not really for me, right? Look at these reviews. 94% very positive.
It's because it's the best.
Reviews on Steam. This game didn't just get downloaded a lot.
It's because it's the best.
But if you're still somehow not shocked yet, well, get this. Gacha games are typically typically liked by a very specific demographic,
Yep.
young adults who usually love anime. When it came to this horse girl gacha racing game though, it reached children, their parents, and their grandparents, doing the impossible and targeting every single conceivable demographic.
It reached children, just like every Minecraft YouTuber.
Guys, it doesn't matter where you go. The metro, the airport, your office, you will most likely see someone playing this on their phone. I say this with no exaggeration. Uma Musume Pretty Derby has taken over the planet. And I
It's the
haven't
best.
seen a gacha game do this since Genshin Impact
Yep.
back during the pandemic. But if this still doesn't shock
It's
you
that
for whatever
good.
reason, then get ready to get sucker punched in the face. Because that's exactly what happened to me when I started seeing headlines like this. Uma Musume developer Cygames is a title sponsor for Grand Prix de Paris, a prestigious horse racing event founded in 1863. And have being held for almost 2 centuries. And their logo just happens to be on an image of an anime girl that is also a horse. What the
That's
fuck
insane.
is going on? And how did we get here? Well, none of it was straightforward, and this game almost failed to release. Uma Musume Pretty Derby has a
It's because of me, guys. I'm gonna just be real. It's because of me. I blew the fuck out of this game. Me and Asmon, we blew this shit the fuck up. Also, Muji, get your pointer off the screen, bro. You left that in post. That's embarrassing.
somewhat chaotic, but also very interesting history. And seeing how it's practically dominated the world, I figured we need to talk about it. So let's do this. Man, horses are such silly animals, but you know what other animals I like? Warships, warplanes, and All right, guys, by now, you know the drill. To really understand the significance of all this, we need context. And in this case, it's going to be a little history lesson. And we're going all the way back to the year 1603, the beginning of the Tokugawa period, otherwise known as the Edo period. This period would be the most traditional period in Japan, mostly because it would be incredibly isolated from the rest of the world. The people in power at the time feared outside influence. In fact, their biggest fear was Christianity. You'd have missionaries from European countries come in to spread the gospel. And people were converting
What's so
fast.
scary about
The Japanese
Jesus?
leaders saw this as a way for Europe to slowly take control of Japan, so they took extreme measures.
Hey, wasn't this Japan during their scary arc? Wasn't this when Japan was a horror game? And they were like slicing open women's wombs and like strangling their babies with their intestines? Dude, I'll be real, man. The nuke made Japan way more kawaii, bro. It did. It made them way more kawaii.
Completely locked down the country except for a select few traders who only had access to specific ports. Japanese people were not allowed to leave Japan, and if they did, they wouldn't be allowed back. And more importantly, Christianity was outlawed. The shogunate took
Now
extreme
imagine how bad
measures
the Christians
and
were back
massacred
then.
over
Also true, the
37,000
Crusades were not
Japanese
good,
Christians,
guys.
making it go almost extinct in Japan and ruling for over 2 centuries. This would all change in 1868, when the Tokugawa shogunate would lose its power and the Meiji Restoration would take its place. One could say that this period was the opposite of the
Wasn't Japan the second longest slave owners in history? Dude, to be honest, I don't even think America was even in the top 5 of people who owned the slaves the longest. Yet I'm still being guilted by our motherfuckers. The fuck you want me to do about it? Jesus.
Tokugawa shogunate's military rule.
Korea's
completely
number one
opening up the
slavery?
country,
Yeah,
technologically
they're
advancing
out there
very
still
quickly,
watching
and
Squid
fully
Games.
embracing the idea of an industrialized nation that can compete with Europe and North America. That way, they don't face the threat of colonization. During this new era, you start seeing more foreigners in
Dude,
Japan,
white people
like
get
British
shit
and
for
Americans,
everything, bro.
specifically around Port Town.
Like, can we talk about that? Bro, white people get shit for everything. It's fucking insane. Guys, I'm gonna say it. I think being white is cool. I don't really think white people are evil. I don't think white people are even in the top 5 of the worst genre of people who do shit on this earth. Let me ask you a question. If white people are so bad, why the fuck do all y'all want to live in white neighborhoods? Anyways.
Their numbers would start becoming significant to the point where they'd start having their own communities built around those port towns.
Epstein's Jewish. I'm gonna Google that. Hold up. Is Diddy white? Somebody Google that. I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know. I give up. I don't know. I'll let somebody black tell me how I should feel about myself. All right, cool. Let's get into it.
This is where, to kill time, Westerners would start playing the sports they knew, like rugby, cricket, and of course, baseball, which is now the most popular sport in Japan today. But according to the 500-page book titled Routledge Companion to Sports History, which outlines the origins of sports all around the world, horse racing in Japan was introduced as early as 1862 by those same Westerners. And within just 8 years, the first jockey club in Kobe was formed.
Chad, am I black or
1870.
not?
You see, the Japanese, much like the rest of the world, also had a special connection to horses. They also loved the idea of entertainment. So they latched onto the sport very quickly, as you can see from this old drawing. Japanese people are on their horses about to race, but the people organizing it can be seen on the left here, and they're foreigners, they're Westerners. Today, it's seen as a prestigious sport, with the Japan Cup having some of the highest prize pools on the planet, and the Japanese taking the sport very seriously, wanting to compete on even footing with foreign horses. Right now, the prize pool for the Japan Cup is about $8.3 million, with first place claiming $3.8 million.
That's a
And
lot
even
of
though
money.
horse racing was seen as such an important
That's like
sport
one
in
Raid
Japan,
Shadow Legends
there was
sponsor.
a problem. interest was kind of waning. When you go to a horse track, you'd mostly see men who are in the older demographics.
Ew.
You wouldn't see teenagers, young adults, kids, or even women that much.
We're all the
In a way,
anime
if
cat
things
girls.
kept going this way, then the sport would have probably died out in a couple of generations.
Is bro wearing a remote controller as a... Okay, anyways.
It was simply seen as too old-fashioned. But all of this would change when a particular studio came up with a ridiculous idea. An idea, actually, that almost ruined their company's reputation and potentially could have bankrupted them. I'm of course talking about Uma Musume Pretty Derby. Cyber Agent is a
All right, we're going to rate him. Hold up.
could have bankrupted them. I'm of course...
Okay. This is important to me. This is really important to me. Somebody's got to fucking say it. I'm sorry. We're making enemies today. I love this fucking game. I don't care what anybody says. This game is fucking amazing. Yep. S tier. Mayano Top Gun, S tier. Oguri Cap, A. Silent Suzuka, B. Lucky Week, B. Tokai Teo, S. Gold Ship, S. Rice Shower, fucking F. I Hope You Die. Super Creek, S. Don't Know. Agnes, S. Don't Know. Vodka, A. Meijiro, C. Fuck you. This bitch, mid. I don't know who you are. El Condor Pasa, S, S, S. You, fuck you. Haru Urara, SS. That's my official ranking. That's not El Condor. That's okay. Because my delusions of seeing her are so high that I hallucinated that it was. And that's all that matters. That's how much I love that character, is I see her when she's not even there.
Talking about Uma Musume Pretty Derby. Cyber Agent is a Japanese company that was founded in 1998. They started out as a digital advertising company, but in 2011, they
Later,
decided to expand
Cygames.
in the ever-growing video game market. This is when they would create Cygames, a video game development studio. Cyber Agent would own the majority of the shares of Cygames, but sell a few to other companies, like, for example, Nintendo, who owns 5% of Cygames.
Jesus,
They
I
would
didn't
go
know
on
that.
to create some pretty well-received games, like Shadowverse, a digital collectible card game, and
I wouldn't call Shadowverse well received. I've never seen a game with more dislikes on Steam. Grand Blue Fantasy, though, slapped.
of course, Grand
I got nothing against Shadowverse, by the way. I still want to try that. It looks good.
Blue Fantasy, which was critically acclaimed. But arguably, Cygames' most important game would end up being one of the first ones they'd ever release in
The
2011,
fuck is this?
titled The Idolmaster Cinderella Girls. This game would be a part of the massive
hell is this
franchise known
gay
as The
shit?
Idolmaster, owned by Bandai Namco, with the first ever game coming out in 2005. Many games for this franchise would release, and in 2011, that's when Cygames would release The Idolmaster Cinderella Girls.
The
They made
hell
this
is
on
all this
behalf
shit?
of Bandai Namco. What was special about this game is that it was made for mobile phones. Back
Fucking
in 2011,
pussy-ass
Namco was seeing
game.
the rise of mobile games, and so that's when they asked Cygames to help. The premise was simple. You'd collect a bunch of idol girls and you would train them, raising their stats through lessons. You would then be able to do a number of
My
things.
God, they
like
got
customize their
mecha
outfits and
idol
even spend
girls?
money
Wait, yo,
on
this shit look
cosmetics. There
dope.
would also be many different minigames, including a multiplayer game mode where you can fight other players.
Oh, this
the
is
player with
cool.
the most stats wins. Overall, it was simple, but
Okay.
extremely successful. This game was earning more than 1 billion yen a month.
That's a lot of
Back then,
money.
that was around $13 million.
That's a
It was
lot of
revealed
money.
that more than 75% of players who got the game chose to pay for either in-game items or energy in order to play more. And
Okay.
according to this article, in August 2012, the game had
That's
made
pretty
9
good.
million USD, which is more than the cost of developing the game. This game was making more money
Jesus.
monthly than it cost to make. And all it did was just feature a bunch of idols
Jesus.
that you trained, up their stats, and got them different outfits. But you see, Bandai Namco was truly taking this franchise to the next level. It started as an arcade game, they made a mobile game, and they also made a manga as well as an anime that adapted that same manga. They were
Okay.
essentially using this franchise to build a media empire, and it was working very damn well.
That's a
They
lot
would
of money,
continue to hire
boys.
more
That's a
developers
lot
to
of
create
money.
more entries in this franchise, and the most recent release would be in 2024, so it's still doing pretty damn well. This is when Cygames would have some sort of an epiphany. Even though this was owned by Bandai Namco, they were the ones who made this extremely successful game. And I mean,
Right.
it made sense. Why wouldn't a game like that be a success? The idol industry in Japan is probably one of the biggest, most successful industries in entertainment. It involved
Sure.
finding someone young with talent, absolutely destroying their lives with ridiculously
That's
rigid
hard.
training and extremely unrealistic expectations. And once they get enough popularity, this is when you would milk their fans with a bunch of different media and merchandise. People will do anything for their idols. They'll literally buy a photo album of them, okay? This is why the idol industry is such a money printing machine.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I think this shit's weird as fuck. Yeah. I don't really get idol culture at all. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, I can't imagine as a 31-year-old man. Do you guys know I'm 31? My dad worked at Blizzard. Yeah, I can't imagine doing that shit, bro. I think it's abusive. I mean, not only do I think it's weird for the fans, I think it's even weirder for the girls. Like, low-key, like, I bet being an idol is fun, but, like, I can't imagine the life after idolhood is, like, enjoyable.
But here's a fun fact for you. When it comes to horse racing in the West, certain jockeys, who are the horse riders, might have fans. Sure, the horses that
jockeys? And who's piloting these jockeys? It wouldn't happen to be a chicken, would it?
They ride also might have fans, but it wasn't anything crazy. In Japan, on the other hand, the horses had fans, all right. They had their own merch. They were recognized by name. Some even had superstitions made around them. I mean, this is just a talent Japanese people have to idolize anything they like. And as much as this sounded ridiculous, there was big market potential here. Cygames had made a very successful idle game, and yet horse racing was a deeply historical aspect of Japanese culture while also having those same idle traits. You know what else is interesting? When it comes to entertainment, the idle industry is very profitable, sure, but one thing Japanese people love to do is gamble, baby. A Japanese person not knowing pachinko is like an American not knowing what a burger is. At this point, it's practically cultural.
Dude, I really tried to understand what the fuck's going on with pachinko, but I think my problem was I was just trying to actually understand it, and I don't think it actually makes any sense at all.
I mean, look, it goes without saying that horse
I
racing
think you just roll the balls and you call it a day. I thought there was a skill aspect. I'm pretty sure there's no skill aspect. I think it's just like just play the game.
And you place your bets on this spaceship-looking machine, bro. This looks insane. That's how much they love it. And finally, just like how idols and gambling are huge in the entertainment industry in Japan, we can't forget to talk about anime. And in the early 2000s, many artists were having an amazing idea of giving anime girls cat ears.
I love
or just
Japanese
small
culture.
animal features. Not to mention that there were already examples in media taking this a step further. Instead of giving them animal features, they would give them features of objects, like how the game Azur Lane has you collect these hot anime women that are meant to be World War II battleships. I'm not even joking, bro. Look, this woman's called Azuma, and she's part of the large cruiser category.
Of course she is.
She's stationed in the camp Sakura Islands. This is meant to be a battleship, bro, like an actual boat. Do you understand?
Yo, Chad, y'all think I can fuck a boat?
And man, does she have some big cannons, let me tell you that much. So I don't know who the genius at Cygames was, bro. It could be the CEO, it could be a producer. Someone had the brilliant idea to sit everyone down and say, hey, what if we combined all these elements together, right? For the gambling, we make a gacha game. For the anthropomorphic catgirl part, we make horse girls. And for the idol part, we base them off the most famous horses in Japan, while also making them sing and dance, because why not? Now, be honest, if you were one of those people listening to this pitch, would you have signed off on this?
Yes.
Because it obviously sounds ridiculous, right? Most people probably wouldn't have. But Cygames had top-tier drugs in their office because you know what? They said yes. They then wasted no time getting started on developing the game, revealing it for the first time on the 21st of August 2016 at the Anime Japan Expo. Excitement for this game was actually already starting to build up, and that made more people want to know more details about Uma Musume. So on January 2017, the main content producer of Cygames, Akihiro Ishihara, was asked a bunch of different questions during an interview, and one of them was, please tell us about the development status. And he said, this game is about 25% complete. Keep that number in mind. But for now, this interview had also revealed many of the horse girl designs, as well as the famous horses they're based on. It seemed like they knew what they were doing.
There she is!
They had revealed many of the horse girl designs, as well as the famous horses they're based on. It seemed like they knew what they were
Our queen, El Condor Pasa! The greatest horse, boys. We all know it.
doing. And they had learned their lessons with Bandai Namco. They were going the Idolmaster route, not just aiming to make one good game. They wanted to make a media empire around Uma Musume. So just a couple months after that interview in March 2017, they released a manga. But they weren't done yet because they wanted to adapt this manga into an anime and were going to enlist the studio PA Works to do it. The plan was to release this anime in 2018 in parallel to the game's release. That way both would help each other and they would start off with a strong symbiotic media empire. That was the plan, except nothing, and I mean nothing, in regards to release dates went according to plan. The Uma Musume Pretty Derby anime would release on April 1st, 2018. It wasn't just limited to Japan, it had a simulcast with Crunchyroll in select regions of the world. It was almost an instant success. Similarly to how people love the idea of cat girls, the idea of horse girls was also very well received.
Yo, chat, you want me to watch this entire anime on stream?
But a couple of aspects that it was really praised for were, one, its attention to detail,
Follow me on Kick if you want me there.
Its very skilled world building. But we'll get to that later. Right now, there's a more pressing concern going on. As the anime was running, the game would release 3 more teasers on April 19th. It showcased a race, a live show, and a story/training section. I can't show you those videos because they've been privated, but overall, it seemed like everything was going according to plan, with the game scheduled to release around the end of 2018. This would be confirmed again on July 2018, with yet another trailer showing off the game and its mechanics, announcing at the end that it was going to release at the end of 2018. As people were waiting, wondering when the game was going to come out, Cygames took their sweet time and only announced on December 15th, 2018, literally the end of the year, that Uma Musume Pretty Derby has been delayed in order to raise the game's quality, saying that they will reveal the new release period at a later date. I mean, okay, not a big deal. I mean, it would have been nice if you told us earlier, but one delay doesn't hurt, especially if the game's going to be better for it, right?
Sure.
Well, the game got delayed again in 2019. And the new release date was slated to be...
There she is! Okay, I'm such a fucking simp, bro. God, I love this character so much. She's so cute. Because she's just happy. She's happy, and she's a girl that likes wrestling, and that's all I want. Just a girl that likes wrestling, man. It's the best.
In 2020. Now, Cyber Agent is a publicly listed company, and just like any publicly listed company, they would have shareholder meetings. So in their third quarter shareholder meeting in 2020, they re-emphasized to their investors that Uma Musume Pretty Derby was going to be released in 2020, confirming that fact. Just a couple of months earlier, in May 2020, the managing director of Cygames confirmed yet again that Uma Musume Pretty Derby was releasing in 2020. But then, we got to December 2020, and the game was nowhere to be found. But yet again, in the final shareholder meeting of the year on December 12th, investors would be told that this game is still on track to release in 2020, but there were 2 weeks left in the year. It was safe to say that after previous delays, people weren't just thinking, oh, this game's going to be delayed again. They were also thinking, is this game ever going to release? How can you say in an interview in the beginning of 2017,
man, guys, I can't believe that this game is running late. I guess they should have spec'd more into speed.
that the game's almost 25% done with a 2018 release date, and yet here we are 2 years later, barely able to make the release. Usually this means that the game has no direction, that Cygames is dealing with an internal disaster. And what really reinforced this narrative is the fact that the game didn't even come out in 2020. We had reached 2021 and the game still had not released yet. It was only on February 24th, 2021 that the game had finally released in Japan. And while it was cool that the game had finally come out, people didn't really know whether to be excited or worried, especially with how Cyberpunk 2077 had released just a couple months earlier, and even though it's been delayed multiple times, had one of the worst launches in history. But you know what? As hard as it was to believe, this was not the case with Uma Musume Pretty Derby. People were so addicted to the damn thing, they couldn't stop playing. The gameplay loop definitely took inspiration from their work on Idolmaster. Your horses, or horse anime girls, would have 5 different stats that you would train them on. You'd also have many different minigames and many ways to interact with your roster. You would then have your horse, or horse girl, race, competing against others in a bid to win first place. These races would make your heart beat like crazy because there was always a chance that one of the horse girls could use a special ability, including your own, like you're seeing right here. You could be losing a race, and then your horse will all by themselves decide to do this in order to win. It just depends on their mood and how you've treated them. One could even say that this was more exciting than IRL horse racing thanks to all these factors. But the game wasn't over with just one horse girl. Eventually that horse girl would retire, just like IRL horses, kicking off the inheritance mechanic just like real life. Here's an example. This is the family tree of the very famous horse, Goldchip. As you can see, this is probably more complex than my own family tree, and I'm a human. It rivals the family tree of like some royalty from the 1600s or something. This is all done with the goal of creating the most genetically engineered monster that can dominate any race. And that's what you kind of do in Uma Musume as well. The hard work.
Wait, Majidо McQueen is that the father
monster that can
of
dominate
Goldchip?
Any race. And that's what you kind of do in Uma Musume as well. The hard work that you put into your now retired horse girl can now be incorporated into your new horse girl by using her as one of her coaches. So in a way, you also become more of a genetic scientist and try to create the perfect horse girl after many different runs. This gameplay loop was so addicting, it was like playing a Civilization game, screaming one more turn as the police is confiscating your phone from you because you haven't eaten in 3 days. People couldn't stop playing it. But as this game became so popular in Japan, it started somewhat suffering from success, you could say. You see, usually, the people who own some of the best racehorses in the world happen to be some very wealthy and successful people. Seeing that Uma Musume's characters are based on real-life horses, they had to go and ask each of these owners their permission to have them in the game. The owners agreed to do that free of charge, not charging any money. This was seen as a very cool and kind gesture from them. But here's the thing, these weren't just horses, these were
Bro, Kita-san Black is so fine, bro. Bro, when the fuck can we get her as a... Do we ever get her as a playable character? 1 year anniversary... Are they fast-tracking the servers? Where are the leaks, guys? I want to see what's happening soon.
Anime girls that were, in many cases, pretty. And usually when you present Japan with a pretty anime girl, they will instinctively almost want to draw some pretty lewd fan art. That was a problem. Cygames knew it was a problem, so they created very specific fan-created content guidelines, outlining rules, saying you can't make fan art with the intent to injure the reputation of this franchise or other third parties. You can't do any lewd stuff, you can't do any violent stuff. The owners of these horses did not want to see their horses participate in anything like that. It was a red line for them, but that didn't necessarily make people want to listen. Now, of course, usually, if you were to break these rules, Cygames would just send you a...
Okay, what's the list? What's the order? Okay, these are the characters that are coming out in order? Who is TM Opera O? Oh, these are predictions? Wedding Mayano. The fuck? Seiyun Sky. Hishi Amazon. Have to pull that one. Fantasy El Condor. Have to pull that. Have to pull that. Have to pull that. That's a must pull. Full Armor Matekane Fukukiketaru. I'll get that one. Hishe Akabono. Immediate pull. Halloween Rice Shower and Super Creek. Immediate pull for both. Oguri Kevin Biwa Holiday. Skip. Sorry about that, guys. I love this game.
Takedown notice and sue you if you don't comply. But of course, this would be too boring for a franchise like Uma Musume. So some people came up with a rumor that now is regarded as truth in many different circles and has spread like wildfire. If you draw any lewd art of Uma Musume girls, the Yakuza will knock on your door and hurt you. Okay, so as far as I can tell, this all started with this stupid tweet. A Japanese person tweeted this out, saying, the reason why Japanese artists can't draw Uma Musume pop art is that Uma Musume is based on real racehorses and their owners are like mafia bosses who control the Japanese economy and we don't want to offend them. This was tweeted on March 11th, 2021, so very shortly after the game released. Now, I don't know how much attention this initial tweet got, but what really brought attention to this was the second tweet this person would make, saying, please retweet as much as you can for people overseas. It included that original tweet and another image, with that person saying, the content of the tweet and the image is complete bullshit. It is a falsehood that amounts to defamation of the racehorse owners. I have insulted the owners of racehorses and other people involved in horse racing, as well as the staff of the Uma Musume project. Racehorse owners are people who are sincerely committed to the culture of horse racing. They are not involved in antisocial organizations. In addition, I tried to make overseas artists complicit in the prohibition of secondary works that significantly worsen the image of the project, which is clearly stated in the official guidelines. This is all due to my short-sightedness and arrogance. I would like to express my deepest apologies to everyone involved and to all those who have supported me. So this apology was definitely overkill to the initial tweet. It was clearly like some kind of a joke, I guess. It was almost like this person had, I don't know, murdered someone. This made people assume that this person got caught by the Yakuza and forced, right, at gunpoint to make this apology, because that's what it sounds like. As you can see here, the top cop.
Wait, so can you make porn of the game or no? In theory, no. Japan can't. You can't, but people still do. People remove tags and shit, otherwise it gets instantly taken down. Oh, is that why there's like none? They're trying to kill people for that? That's insane.
Is, so they found you? And the person said, no, it's not. It's just that I made the wrong statement. Someone else said, I'm guessing they gave you a call. To which this person said, no, it doesn't. Someone said, I'm sorry to hear that the racehorse mafia got to you. Had no idea Japan even had such an intense culture of racehorsing, let alone one run by gangsters. Then that person replied with, please
Hold
don't.
up. You still can. Is this, what is this? What did you just link me? Bro, Gold Ship goes crazy, bro. That is a fast horse.
Tell us such
Jesus.
bullshit. This person was so easy to troll,
Holy
and this
moly.
eventually got posted on Reddit, ironically saying, turns out old-fashioned Yakuza are alive and well in Japanese horse racing industry. They're sending goons to stop doujin artists from making drawings of Uma Musume project characters. All of these events have resulted in this becoming a full-fledged meme. Whenever someone mentions, man, I'd love to draw these characters in lewd poses, someone always comes in and comments, hey man, you don't want to do that, the Yakuza's gonna get you. And while it's funny, it's gotten a lot of people to actually believe it, especially overseas. But the truth is that Yakuza doesn't own any of the horses, and that gambling is heavily regulated by the JRA, the Japanese Racing Association. So no, if you draw lewd art, the Yakuza aren't going to knock on your door, but you might get a DMCA notice from a lawyer. But regardless, Yakuza hiccups aside, this game was making bank. In 2021 alone, even though they released 1 month after the year had began, in February, they had made over $1 billion.
My God.
And by March 2025, they had made a total of $2.5 billion since
billion?
release. This is an insane amount of money, but what's even more insane is that 90% or more of its revenue came purely from Japan. Cygames had the Japanese population in its chokehold. And as I mentioned, these weren't just young adults. There would be endless stories of people going on the metro, going to a restaurant, going outside, and seeing someone way older than them or way younger than them playing this game on their phone. It became cultural. But here's the thing. Japan, even though open to the rest of the world, still has a very particular market. Just because something is successful
I don't think people realize how much making the smut seem like illegal will make people want it more. Dude, this is gonna have the exact opposite effect. Like, this is like the Streisand effect. Now that people know that like you can't do it, there's gonna be tons. There's gonna be fucking tons, man.
Any way that it'll be successful anywhere else, especially when it comes to the topic of gacha games. So when it came to finally launching the game globally on June 26, 2025, more than 4 years after launching it in Japan, people didn't really know what to expect. It was reasonable to think that it was going to just die out in a few months, with Japan continuing to be its main revenue source. Except what it did was inconceivable. It was absolutely dominating the Steam charts. As you saw in the intro, it became the #1 most downloaded game on Steam at some point. Also becoming an instant success on mobile. What's really interesting here is that it managed to recreate exactly what happened in Japan, but globally, which was not having a target demographic, reaching everyone equally. Here's a fun example. Northern Lion is a streamer who's 36 years old. He would not, in any way, be the target demographic of a game like Uma Musume Pretty Derby. No way in hell. But his chat kept pestering him, please download the game, give it a shot, for the love of God, you'll love it. And eventually, he gave in. Now, Northern Lion is a pretty big streamer. He'll usually average around 15,000 viewers. But when he streamed Uma Musume, he had reached his all-time peak of 40,000 live viewers. And you know what the craziest part is? He absolutely loved it, okay? He fell in love with the game, the characters, everything. He even had Japanese players seeing some of the reactions from Western players thinking, wow, we gotta up our game because these guys are way more passionate than us. Look at this.
Come on, Gold Ship, put it into high gear. I need all you got right now. The Kentucky Derby's on the line. Come on!
It was, with no exaggeration, taking over the entire internet. And it showed in the stock price of Cyber Agent,
Oh
the parent
my
company of
God.
Cygames, with its stock market price going up like crazy. But why is that? How is this
Jesus.
game such a success, so highly rated, both in Japan and overseas? We've established that the gameplay loop is fun, sure, but there are a lot of games like that. This isn't just a game at this point, it's a cultural phenomenon. So what was something that it did that other games weren't even close to achieving? Well, the horses.
Yep.
Alright, so remember how I mentioned that this game's anime was praised for having immense attention to detail and world building? Well, the game was very similar in that regard too. Seeing that all these anime horse girls were based on real-life horses, Cygames did their homework and examined every single horse and its very specific personality,
It's so fucking cool.
incorporating all these aspects into their anime character. But that's not all. When it comes to the world of Uma Musume, many things in there were based on real-life locations, like racetracks and areas around it. We're talking anything from train stations to the convenience store where the horse girls buy their carrots. This wasn't just attention to detail, this was making landmarks out of IRL locations and attributing important history to them. Additionally, this world wasn't just made in like
Lamest
one
game
evening.
ever?
It made
Fuck
sense,
you,
and that's
man.
because its
You're the
world building
lamest
was very
person
well made.
ever.
Horse girls in this world are seen as a different type of species. They're treated as well as humans, there's no discrimination, and instead they have a real place in this world. With certain gadgets, for example, made specifically for them. Look at this extremely
That's
long
so
phone.
funny.
It's to accommodate her horse ear and her mouth.
That's
I mean, look
so
at this
fucking
stupid
funny.
seat right here. It's made specifically for horse girls so that they don't get
Oh my
uncomfortable with their
God.
tails. There's even historical landmarks in the anime, like how there are Moai statues on Easter Island
Yo.
with horse girls. They even took famous Japanese horse racing paintings and converted them to accommodate the world. As you can see, these are horse girls racing here.
That's
from
so
a world
sick.
point of view, this already made sense. The attention to detail was there. And so when it came to the actual personalities of each horse, guys, they couldn't have done a better job. For example, one of the most famous horses in Japanese racehorsing history is Goldship. This is a horse who ran 28 races and won 13 times, an incredible record. But what really made Goldship famous is that he was an absolute diva with a ridiculously unique and rage-baiting personality. In 2015,
Oh,
Goldship
shit.
had a total of 12 billion yen betted on him.
Goldshipper.
People were confident that he would win just like he won his other races. What we got instead was the day known as the 12 billion yen incident, when he would do this. Watch.
ゴールドシップの3連覇か、それともタバが待ったをかけるのか。ゴールドシップが立ち上がった。
He would simply refuse to race. Everyone would go except him. He didn't care. He just didn't feel like it, and so he didn't race, losing people 12 billion yen in bets. Now, this is how Goldship would look in the game and in general in the
Oh
Uma Musume
my
universe. They would
God.
recreate the same incident in the anime series. Watch.
負ける気がしねえ真似すんじゃねえよ
Oh,
And just so you know, they brought back the same
sick,
exact
bro.
woman who was
Fuck,
casting
I
that
need to
day to
watch
voice
this
in the
shit,
anime. Guys,
dude.
the attention to detail
Fuck,
is
I
ridiculous.
need to watch this
So
shit.
seeing that Goldship was an absolute diva, yet at the same time very skilled, Cygames made sure to incorporate that into Uma Musume Pretty Derby. She'd be very skilled, very talented, and yet would have crazy mood swings, refusing to train, and sometimes, even though having the best stats, would just refuse to race, like
I love
not
it.
giving a single shit.
I
This
love it.
eccentric personality would
Oh my
so
God.
accurately be translated into the game,
Wait. Hold up.
not giving a single shit. This eccentric
How do you get these out? How do you get this one? Not in game? Fuck. Really?
personality would so accurately be translated into the game that it would create
She's
a
so
new
awesome.
overseas fan club for this IRL horse. I mean, look at this. This
So
is a video
dope.
of Goldship in retirement, literally just hanging out. It has over 2.2 million
Yeah.
views. This is just a horse hanging out for 2 minutes, not doing anything except fooling around. That's how much of a
Yeah.
sensation he became because of this game and his history. I mean, look, most people would have just
Yeah.
stopped there and moved on to a different topic, but not with me, you won't. Goldship's personality wouldn't just end with him being a diva. He would also be one of the most successful breeders, with a successful mating rate of 99.1%, having over 500 children, with a few of them becoming absolute champions. In fact, according to some staff, after he would finish mating with a mare, she would then refuse to mate with anyone else but Goldship. That's just how good he is, man. But I guess it also explains why he enjoyed it so much.
Oh my
He would
God.
swing his cucumber from side to side because of how excited he was, okay? I know this is like a ridiculous amount of detail, but people look into this. That's how obsessed they are with Goldship.
Oh
This
my
isn't just
God.
because he was skilled or a massive diva, he was a rage baiter. Like the whole 12 billion yen incident, but also the fact that his trainers realized that, wait a second, in his retirement, he's running even faster than he used to run back when he was still a racehorse, making them realize that he never used his full potential while being a racehorse, almost as if on purpose to spite his trainers. This made people
Stop.
realize that horses aren't just creatures that we share a special connection with.
So
They also
cool.
have many unique and diverse personalities. Most people have a hard time seeing that though, because we don't really interact with horses that much anymore. So turning them into anime horse girls with proper world building around them made us finally appreciate their very deep and valuable personalities. And no one received more appreciation than the
Haru
horse
Urara.
Haru Urara. You see, when she was young, she would go unsold at an auction. Seeing that no one wanted to buy her, she was entrusted to the cheapest race course to run in Japan. Her trainers thought that this would be a good chance for her to maybe win since she had a hard time training. But then she went on to lose 113 races in a row, never winning once. However, when she had lost her 87th race in a row, the race announcer, Koji Hashiguchi, would be absolutely shocked at this statistic. He was like, dude, this like never happens. Most horses would have given up by now. They would have retired. So he sent her racing record to national media outlets thinking, dude, this is insane. Like, you got to talk about this. And they did, which made her ridiculously famous. People started going in droves to where she raced, the Kochi race course.
Oh my God.
The wives of the jockeys, the people who rode the horses,
oh my
took advantage
God,
of this and
bro,
started
that
making
makes me want to
merchandise.
cry.
And get this, at a certain point, people would go to this race course just to bet on Haru Urara, knowing very well that they were going to lose, but they would love that because then they'd use that betting ticket as a protective charm for car accidents. They believed that it held special powers, bro. You understand what I'm talking about here? This horse had superstitions made around it. I mean, this was such a big boom that Haru Urara had single-handedly saved the Kochi racecourse from going bankrupt. They were able to pay off all their debts thanks to her. And today, as you can see, Haru Urara is painted on the side here. That's how much of a legend she is. Seeing that she's in the game of Uma Musume Pretty Derby, this prompted both Japanese and global players to select her to try and give her the win that she so very deserved in real life, making her one of the most popular characters in the game. This renewed attention from the global audience with their love for Haru Urara eventually allowed them to find out that they can send gifts to her in her retirement because she's still alive. They could send her some premium ryegrass directly. They sent 2.7 tons of ryegrass. Usually one person could buy $40 worth, which is 5 kilograms. But people crashed the donation website, and now we're sitting at 2.7 tons. This is an image of this little cutie receiving her gifts, and it's prompted people to draw fan art of this phenomenon. I mean, look at how much ryegrass is in front of her. She has enough food until the end times. 2.7 tons, you're insane. In fact, thanks to this game and its renewed attention on these horses and their accomplishments, many of them, who are now in retirement, are receiving many donations, able to fully enjoy their older years. This is because this game didn't just make a lot of money and renew interest in horse racing, but it has single-handedly revitalized the entire horse racing industry globally, specifically in Japan. In the world of horse racing, sometimes, unfortunately, racehorses.
Chat, y'all want me to IRL and find a horse race in real life for us to watch? We'll do IRL horse racing. Go with Emmy. Okay, sure, I'll invite her. I'll invite her, guys, sure.
Are not able to retire. This can happen for a number of reasons, but usually it's because there's not enough funding. Back when this game released in Japan, it fueled a movement of people donating to many of these famous retired horses, ensuring that they not only live a good life, but that they can continue to live in general. But retirement isn't fun if you just have money. It's also nice when you meet people, when you still interact socially. Many of these retired racehorses started receiving visitors, so much so that Uma Musume had to release an official guideline on how to visit stables and what to do in order to be respectful. For famous horses such as Haru Urara or Goldship, visits sell out immediately.
I'll see if Lakari and Genizad want to go too.
This has led some crazy, ridiculous fans to sneak onto the stable ground sometimes just to see the horses, with Cygames completely denouncing that and saying you shouldn't do that, stop. But that wasn't all. Cygames was making a lot of money from this game, and they understood that there's a mutual benefit here. If horse racing thrives, they thrive too. And so the president of Cyber Agent, Susumu Fujita, has become a high roller when it comes to buying expensive horses and raising them for races, always being one of the leading buyers when it comes to horse auctions in Japan. So far, he has spent easily over $10 million making up his own fleet of racehorses, and he's not planning on stopping anytime soon. But this isn't just about Japan. This is about horse racing globally. In May of this year, they had announced a partnership with the 151st Kentucky Derby, the most watched and most attended horse race in the United States, taking place since the year 1875. And you had this anime
Hold
girl.
up. I'm going to Google this. When is the Kentucky Derby this year, 2025? It already happened. Shit. I'm going to figure out a way to get us to a horse race. We'll do this, guys. We'll do this live.
Horse racing game being their biggest sponsor. This also extends to Paris. As you saw in the intro, they're not just sponsoring the Grand Prix de Paris, but they're the main sponsor. And I mean, look, if you show me an image of horse racing, I probably would think, oh, cool. But if I was a young person and saw a poster like this, I think, whoa, whatever this is, I want this. Where can I get tickets? It's an extremely mutually beneficial partnership. Additionally, racehorsing merchandise has had a boom in Japan ever since the game had come out, truly turning this into an animal idol industry. These dolls, for example, they sell out like crazy. It's actually very hard to get them, especially if you're outside of Asia. Actually, I think they're keychains, but you get the point.
Those are
Cygames
so
was essentially making a lot of money from this, but they were using it for good things, making this industry a better place, helping treat retired horses even better, and in general being.
And that's why I don't feel bad spending $1,000 on their game. Plus, all of my chat can use my Max Kitasan Black as well. I saved people hundreds of thousands of dollars that day because I'm just that good of a guy.
a positive force in the community. This reminds me how at
It
some
goes
point,
to the
Hero,
horses,
creators of
guys.
Genshin Impact had invested
It
in a
goes to
nuclear
the
fusion
horses.
reactor, and in 2024 it became operational. Who would have thought that you spending money on characters in a gacha game was going to end up somehow in a nuclear fusion reactor in Singapore? Overall, this industry is revived. It's back. Audiences now feature women, young people, middle-aged people, demographics that horse racing usually wouldn't be able to reach. This has already been happening in Japan, and I'm sure it'll start happening globally thanks to this game. I can't help but laugh when I say this, but it's true. This anime girl horse racing gacha game has somehow been able to single-handedly revive this entire sport.
It's
while
awesome.
somehow making the world a better place.
Hell
It's-
yeah.
It's crazy, but it's where we are today. I hope I was able to explain why this game took over the world and why it's continuing to, and I really appreciate you watching until the end. This is a fairly different video from what I usually do on my channel, but hey, I figured it would be fun. Now, the sponsor does want me to end this video with a message, so before I'll do that, I'll thank you again, say that I love you, and mwah, see you next time. Thank you.
What a great fucking video. What a great fucking game. I almost cried hearing the lore of Haru Urara. Man, it's a damn good day to breed your horses. Like, comment, subscribe.